it's much more expensive here than in the States.
And what about the books?
Yeah, I hope not, because I read about tap water here. I can't have tap water here. Yeah, I'd be in trouble. Yeah. 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 So, next, anyone want to go next? Here on the corner, I guess.
Please.
Oh, right here? No? You want to go next? No?
Again, yeah.
Basically, it's a tough choice. My name is Irina, and basically, I think everyone will agree it's very tough to say my favorite movie is. So I was thinking about 3 movies that are my favorites. 2 of them are, I don't know the director, but the author of the script is Stephen King. Rose Red and The Storm of the Century. Rose Red is a very good film for those who like horror films. It's long enough, with action, very good music. Music is fantastic. Probably the best music in all Stephen King films.
I had nightmares for 2 weeks after that.
Oh, really? And my mother started closing the door after watching this movie. But I think still it's worth seeing if you like horror movies. It's wonderful. It's very beautiful. And usually I like the message and the films that I like. The Storm of the Century is one of these films. I was watching it with my mother and she was waiting and she was asking, where is the happy ending? No happy ending in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's about very common people, very ordinary life, and it's about very hard choices. And probably those people were mistaken. Probably they didn't make the right choice. But still, it's another very long movie, and I'm still thinking basically about this film. Why did this happen? And what would have been if it happened another way, if they made another choice? It's another film that I like very much. And the last one, again, probably I'm together with one of the ladies who likes the movie that no one else likes. I like Hannibal Rising. No Anthony Hopkins, but I think it's a very interesting film. And I like the way the nature is portrayed. It's very cruel film in one way, and it's very poetic in another way. And again, probably it's about the choices, and it's a pity that sometimes wonderful and talented people have very doubtful choices. Also, I think it's safe to like Hannibal, because the character is not realistic. You never meet serial killers like this. It's impossible, fortunately for us.
But in the States, we do have serial killers.
But they are, as far as the internet information is concerned, they're never intellectuals.
Yeah.
They are very unattractive people in real life.
You know, it's funny about serial killers or killers in general. You get them in the States periodically, you know, and Americans like to keep up with them, you know, usually through the news. And they always interview, you know, once they capture the serial killer or they're on the hunt for the serial killer, the kidnapper, whatever, and they find out who the guy is, and they interview the neighbors of the killer. What's the first thing the neighbors always say? He's always a quiet guy. He was really good, kind of a nice, quiet guy. Don't they always seem nice and quiet? You know what I mean? I think it's always the quiet ones you have to worry about. It's like Clint Eastwood in the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The guy never said a word, but you knew he was dangerous.
And also the Zodiac. It's about California.
San Francisco, the Zodiac
And
killed.
this is another very unusual film. And this is not a film about the personality of the murderer. But it's another. I heard that it is a film about obsession to find this man. And it's a very good film.
Johnny Depp, right? Wasn't it?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Yeah.
Tom Hanks?
No.
I'm not too much into serial killers, so.
No, but this this is not about serial killer.
It's about finding the.
It's about people who are looking for him. And it's about the atmosphere, and it's about situation. It's very psychological. It's very nice to see. And first my family didn't want to watch this movie because it says on the cover that it's very cruel. Yes, it is, because of the attitude when the murderers are portrayed. It's like you watch it and you cannot help it. You cannot do anything. But well, it's about the journalist, the cartoonist finds the guy, and it's very unusual. It's very nice.
Well, you probably have to go see Shutter Island then. You have to go see that. It'll blow your mind away. Really, it really. 2 days after, you'll still be thinking about it. Really, it's a thriller. So, want to go next, anybody?
My name is Dmitry. I can't say that I like one or two favorite films, but usually I watch comedies or actions, but I don't like horrors. So I can't say that I have one or two favorite films.
Well, here's a just side question. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Russian films except for The Tsar, which after I saw it, so well, Ivan the Terrible wasn't all that bad. He spent most of his time praying, you know. But of course, the movie didn't show a lot of killing either. You know what I mean? It was an interesting movie, but I mean, what do you prefer? Russian movies over American movies? American, really? And why is that?
Because it's, I don't know, more action.
More action, is that right? Oh, no.
My name is Marina.
Mhm.
I have a little free time to watch movies. In general, I don't like the movies where people kill each other or they bite each other. I prefer the movies where people just talk. I can watch these movies for hours.
Wow, yeah.
I like very much documentary movies. But I can't name one now.
Did you ever see March of the Penguins? Did you ever see that? It's called March of the Penguins. Yeah, it's when all types of awards. It's about penguins migrating from one part of Antarctica to the.
No, that's not about nature, but about people's life. I like movies about some memories.
Yeah.
My name is Elvira. I began as Moscow teachers. I work in school. I prefer to work with children. I want to make films for children in computer. And some students came to us and I asked them to prepare for films in computer for us. And I like the film about our land, about our trips, how to prepare young people to take part in Olympic Games in Sochi. And I would like to know how to make movies or films. And you say about how to play basketball, how to play football. And American kids play much computer games and the works with such games.
You guys play a lot of basketball
Yes,
here?
Computer. I began to work as a computer and I brought the computers from USA for our Moscow schools 15 years ago. It's beginning our work here.
Sure.
Yeah.
My name is Laura. Among American films, I like mostly either dramas or comedies, but also some fantasy films. The last ones that I like most of all, you mentioned Haworth, the Rings, I think it's the best film. It contains fun with a fantasy story. But my favorite American film is Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump, really?
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
I think this movie and the story told in this movie can be understood by every person from every culture, because there are things that are all human beings, like friendship, loving those people, and being faithful to your country. And my favorite movie is there's a lot of comedy, because I think in our difficult life, comedies are good to make our mind more relaxed and think about something funny and have a bit of happiness.
Absolutely.
It's all.
Yeah, no, comedies are good. I'll tell you, if people come home, like for here, for example, I'm assuming they wake up 5, 6 in the morning, they go to work in the office all day. Well, first, before they get to the office, they take the metro, probably packed in there. They're like, oh, why am I here? They get to work, they work all day, they have to take the same metro, dealing with loads of people coming in and going, blah, blah, the escalators, all that, right? And you're just drained when you get home. First thing you want to do is get away from it all. You just put in a comedy movie and just get away for a while. You know, and it's something that'll make you laugh. Comedy today, some of it's very good. I prefer, you might want to write these down because these are fantastic. It's the Marx Brothers. I don't know if you ever heard of the Marx Brothers, 1930s, 1940s. The best comedies. They're just written so well. And there is this one scene, I'll tell you. Two of the actors, Marx Brothers, they're going over a contract, you know, and because one wants to work for the other. And they're going through the contract, you know, through every line, and they get to the end of the contract, and one of them says, "What's that at the end of the contract?" And the other guy says, "Oh, that's a sanity clause." And the other actor, he's Italian, so the one who says, "What is that?" He's Italian. He goes, "What is that?" And the guy says, "That's a sanity clause." And the Italian's all, interesting. And the guy says to the Italian, "Do you know what a sanity clause is?" "Yeah, he's the big fat guy who goes down the chimney and gives gifts to the children." You know what I mean? So because of his Italian accent, a sanity clause is if you're sane enough, but because he's Italian, sanity, he's thinking Santa Claus. So I mean, it's just that well written. It's very good, and they were very popular in the 30s and 40s. Laurel and Hardy, if you've heard of them, my all-time favorite. When I was a kid, we used to have a pizza place, a pizza parlor, where you go and eat loads of pizza. All you can eat pizza, and they have pull down this screen, and you'd watch these old silent comedies like Buster Keaton, and they would play like Laurel and Hardy movies. That's how I fell in love with really old comedies. But what I like about old comedies is you can sit there, it's good, fun, entertainment, the whole family can watch it, and there's no sexual innuendos, there's no, bad language. It's funny, just on pure talent and good writing. There was this one skit Laurel and Hardy did where the whole skit was they played 2 delivery people trying to deliver a grand piano up a giant flight of stairs. That's all the movie was, and it was just the funniest thing you can see. It was amazing. Yeah, and those movies are great because it also shows you old Los Angeles, what it was like in the 30s and 40s. The architecture and everything was completely different because, believe it or not, in the States, we don't keep things like you do here. Like, I see a building that's 100 years old, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty old, There, we tear everything down, We do have our old buildings, but like in Silicon Valley, like San Jose, very little old buildings, over 100 years old. In California, the oldest buildings are missions, which were built by the Spanish Franciscans when they came to California. but we don't have a lot of old buildings, so to watch Laurel and Hardy and see a lot of the old architecture and everything is just amazing, or these high ceilings, from the 30s is pretty amazing. But yeah, try looking up some of those old comedies, and if you can't, I don't know what it's like here in Russia, if you can go out and rent things, like rent movies. Yeah, can you rent movies here? Yeah, look for Marx Brothers. Oh, just fantastic. And you can always go to like YouTube. Internet's great if you have internet. The world is right at your fingertips. So.
Dave, sorry for my question. Could you present your neighbor? I think he is a native speaker. And probably could you answer the question, your favorite writer, your favorite book, and your favorite film?
I think we're talking Gimlin.
Wow.
Starting from me.
My
Yeah.
name is Michael.
Michael, it's a very good name.
Well, my favorite movie is The Lord of the Rings. My favorite book. It's a hard question to answer.
Don't worry.
Right now, I'm mostly interested in Arthur Conan Doyle books, like Sherlock Holmes, right now. But I have many different favorite books. One is Sherlock Holmes, the other is The Lord of the Rings, the other is The Chronicles of Narnia. So I have a lot of different favorite writers and books.
I like this kid. He likes C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, but cannot stand Harry Potter. I like this.
You're
Yeah?
not gonna put that in his favorites.
Yeah, I like. Okay, Tom, go ahead.
He's very discriminating. What about you? What film you said, Harry? You said Lord of the Rings film? Yeah. For me, I will give proper credit to a movie, maybe the best movie I've watched in 10 years, a Russian film that is not widely known in Russia by Kravchuk. Kravchuk, is that his name? Mikhail Kravchuk? It's called Italianus.
I know this one.
Yes. You've seen this film? Yes. I was very surprised. And it's available with English subtitles. So I had to sit and pause and read all the subtitles. So I had to watch it 4 times before I truly understood it. But I liked it because I think it shows some of the issues that have happened here in Russia at different times. It was very sad in some ways, and I think it was reality. In some of the, it's not set in Moscow, it's set in some smaller cities and towns where I've been, and so I just thought it was very touching, and the boy is terrific. The young boy just does a great job of acting. I will put some films that have already been mentioned in there for various reasons. Forrest Gump, because of his innocence in the middle of extremely difficult circumstances, including civil rights movements in the 1960s, anti-war movements in the 1960s, racism in the 50s and early 60s, the Vietnam War, AIDS, rejection and love, and he stays innocent and he stays good, even though he's not a brilliant man and a talented man in some ways. And I just like his true, he's able to stay true to who he is because he had a good mother. And so I thought that was a great story to be told. Braveheart, because it's uncompromising. He knows what he wants, he knows what he believes, and he will not compromise under any circumstance. So I'm a little bit of a black and white.
Yeah.
Stay true to what you believe and what you think. But for a feel-good movie, it's Capricornia.
Capricornia.
Capricornia. A Frank Capra film.
Okay.
It's a Wonderful Life, which is a classic.
I just showed it recently.
Did
right?
you? Did you? Yeah.
Showed, to Marina, and she had never seen it, and Made her cry at the end.
And he's black, Frank Capra is a little black and white, and he's about goodness, I think, a lot of times, and so they call it Capra corn, because it can be called corny.
Yeah, yeah.
And and corny just kind of means, well, a little naive, maybe, a little naive. And I just think it's a good story of a man who has dreams, doesn't get to live his dreams, but he really has a wonderful life. in spite of that.
Absolutely.
And it's a rich life, even though he doesn't, we think we want something, and truly, maybe we have some great things already.
Well, that movie is a fantastic movie, and when it came out, no one went to see it. It was a complete bomb, but it ended up being an American classic. And that movie, if you feel down about your life and you feel like all I do is go to work, I do nothing else, I'm not contributing to manhood, I'm just here doing nothing. That movie will show you that every single human being on this planet makes an impact, no matter how big or small you are. It doesn't matter. When you go to McDonald's and the girl says, "Can I take your order?" That girl, without her on this planet, the planet would be completely different, because each person that girl comes in contact with, even just the simple question of, would you want fries with that burger, changes everyone's life. And that is true.
But not if you get mayonnaise on your fries.
Now if you get mayonnaise on your fries, that's right, yeah. So, I mean, to me, you know, when I watched that movie, I had that thought. I was writing, I wasn't making a lot of money writing, and someone said to me, "Why don't you watch It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart?" And I said, "Oh, okay, give me one of these movies." So, and I watched it, and I watch it once a year, because it puts my life in perspective. That it doesn't matter what you're doing. You impact the world, and you impact the people around you. In the movie, earlier in the movie, Jimmy Stewart saves his brother from falling into the ice when they're sledding, and saves his brother's life. Well, later in the film, as they're adults, his brother saves 20 soldiers on a ship during World War II. And I don't want to give away the whole story, but someone says to the Jimmy Stewart character, "If you weren't alive, your brother would have died falling into that ice, because you wouldn't have been there to save him. And because you weren't there to save him, later on in his life, he wouldn't have been there to save the 20 men he saved in the attack during World War II. So all those people's lives would have been affected and completely changed if he wouldn't have done that one act. So even the smallest act that you do affects the entire world, no matter what it is. You know, going out to the store to pick up, you know, just the littlest thing, bread and milk, whatever, just the people you come in contact with every day. Us interacting. If we weren't here doing this, think about what you would be doing. You know what I mean? Your life would be completely different if you never came here today. One decision changes it changes your life. Just every decision you make changes your life. You know, that's one thing great about being human, is we have that. We can go this direction or that direction. And, you know, by the decisions we make, affects our lives forever, right? So that's one thing that the movie teaches you, and it's a fantastic movie.
It's the same story as Ray Bradbury's story.
Is what?
Ray Bradbury.
Ray Bradbury.
Fantastic.
It's not the same, it wouldn't be the same story.
He told about the story, like somebody just heard the butterfly and thinks were never again. The whole story is about same idea around this. Anything that you change now, in the future, will turn around in different ways.
Absolutely.
Or could you please spell the name of this movie?
Oh, It's a Wonderful Life?
No, Capricornia?
Oh, no, I'm saying that the name, that was a phrase somebody used. Frank Capra was the director.
Ah.
And so the word corny is slang for naive and perhaps too sweet.
Yeah.
So someone said, well, it's really Capra corny.
Yeah.
And there's a word that's,
I think Pepper is the name of the.
the director.
It's a Capra.
What's the name of this, the movie?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Tom, if it isn't the secret, what is your profession?
I teach English.
English in high school or?
I work with a language company and it's to various clients for a company, and I also do individual lessons or group lessons.
But you know everything about filmmaker, right?
No, if you just are sitting in front of the television and they talk about something, so you, just because you're in the culture and it's an important part of our culture, like you know about Pushkin because you grew up in Russia, we know about Hollywood films. So it's part of our culture.
And now that I know what he does, I know he's sitting there